Hello everyone, welcome to today's session. In this session, we are going to see synchronization and types of synchronization. These are two topics we are going to cover in this session. So synchronization is very important with respect to interacting with a web application. It is often found out that sometimes website is faster, your computer might be slow. Sometimes computer is faster, but website might be slow. So this creates an disconnect between statement processing or page being loaded, and that causes a lot of error. To have a correct result, we need to make sure website as well as our statement which we are executing, which is processing, are in very much in sync. So Tag UI provides a couple of options by which we can synchronize our statement. If website is fast, we can wait. If computer is faster, we can slow it down to ensure that we are in sync, and then they properly coordinate each other so that we get a consistent orchestrated results which we want to achieve it through web automation. So for which we have two types. So we have a wait, which is called explicit wait for some time. When you launch a website and your statement is much faster, your processing is much faster, you can just put a blanket wait. The Tag UI will wait for that particular amount of time in seconds, explicit wait for some time. So you have another one which is called timeout. It auto waits and times out when the element appears. So these are two options by which we can able to synchronize. We'll see both examples and try to understand a small nuances or a difference between wait and timeout, and when should you use it and when you should not use it, and what are the options related to it. Welcome back to the example. Let's launch Notepad++. So let's start with wait, which we have seen multiple times. Example for wait for some time. So the syntax goes is wait, and you need to provide time to wait in seconds. Seconds to wait for some time. So let's launch. We can use any site. We can say, hey, in this case, I will go for our popular website, which is google.com or Google Chrome, and which we can go and we can say Investopedia, or I can say www.getbala.com, and I'll enter. So this is eventually launch the site. So as you see, it's taking some time to launch, and we need to wait for that much time for the page to be loaded, right? And we'll use here wait as a, we'll see wait or other and timeout both example. How does it work? So let's first start with wait, and we'll see some of the nuances around it from a wait standpoint. So we'll say launch. We'll say http getbala.com, and now we'll say wait. So wait starts with wait, and you can wait for seconds. So we can say 1, you can say 2. So these are all in seconds, and you can say, hey, you wait for 10 seconds here for page to be loaded. And let's save this and come back. So go to your desired location where your code should be saved, and you can say wait.tag and or wait example.tag and say enter. And let's just execute it to see how wait works. So go to command, navigate to desired location, and say clear, and I'll move this one a little bit aside so that we can see what's happening. And I'll say tag UI dot wait text wait exe dot tag, and I'm going to run, and we can see so it launched, and Chrome got launched, and now it's basically navigated to getbala.com, and it is waiting for 10 seconds to complete. So this basically took overall, if you notice here, we have this wait, and you see overall execution time was 15 seconds. So what Tagui did is it launched our site. After launching, it just blindly waiting for 10 seconds and going out. This is slowing down the overall execution. Although my page or our site is being loaded fully before even 10 seconds. This is very helpful to just put a hard-coded wait, and it becomes very difficult to really control because your speed of site changes based on different circumstances or criteria. It generally slows down your execution of statements when you just use explicit wait, which is 10, without even thinking how much time or how much time it's not considered to be a best practice to use it. It is useful in some cases, but it's not highly effective or highly useful in most circumstances. So just wait for 10 seconds, and once the 10 second is over, it executes either next statement or it goes to next statement. If there's no next statement, it finishes the execution. With that said, make sure that it waits for just 10 seconds and comes out. It slows down your overall processing speed. So there are a few different ways wait can be put in place, and you can say, instead of saying 10, you have the other ways of putting it. You can say wait 5 seconds, or you can say 5.5 seconds, and then you can say wait 10 seconds, or you can say wait 20 seconds. These are the three or four different ways you can use wait. All will be just waiting for that in different seconds. So I'm going to use this particular statement and see if it's how it's going to perform or behave. It is going to slow down. It will take more time from an execution standpoint. So we'll go to execute this 20 seconds statement. So come back here and say Tagui, and it should launch and navigate to bala.com, and now it's waiting for 20 seconds. So if you can see, it's just going to wait for 20 seconds, and then it is going to complete its execution once 20 seconds is over. Okay, so you can see this 26 seconds overall execution, or we want to measure this. I have launched the site, and then after that, wait how much time it takes. So Tagui provides a couple of helpful methods so that we can measure the timing. So we have a method which is called timer, and you can just put the timer. It will start clocking the time or punching the time. Timer start recording the time between the execution. So once you have it, you'll be launching it, and then we are going to say, in this case, 20 seconds too long. I think we can just going to use 5 seconds, and we'll wait for it. And then what we are going to do is we can see how much time it's taking. We can say total time to execute, and we can provide our timer method here. It will show what's the time it took to execute these two statements. So Tagui will provide us how much time it's going to take to execute these two statements within the box, from timer starting to ending. So this is start and this is end. This all value will be stored in the timer, and this echo statement will show or display the time, how much time or how much seconds it took to execute it. So when we are going to execute this, if we have the timer, this is called a Tagui helper method. We'll see in detail when we are going to discuss about timer method, but at this particular point, timer method records your time between the statements, time between the statements, to help you get the timing of execution between the statements. So we'll see what happens. So let's save this and minimize this, and let's just clear this for clearing it, and we'll just execute now. So let's execute the wait.tagui. So Chrome launched, it navigated, and it is waiting for 5 seconds, and it executed. So total execution time here was 7 seconds. So it executed it 7 seconds. But our site launched pretty fast. So for that, we have another option, which is called timeout. So we'll use timeout example to demonstrate the advantages of timeout. So let's open another script. We'll copy paste all the things which we have hit here. So copy and paste and say example for timeout. Timeout also in seconds. After that, it will terminate. So what timeout does is, as soon as it sees the page, it stops waiting. So let's say if the page loads in 3 seconds, and we don't have to wait for 2 more seconds if my page is loaded. So what timeout does is, if it checks whether the page is loaded prior to the page or element is loaded, if it is loaded, it times out from waiting. Otherwise, it will wait for the page to be loaded. So it's the best way to use it from a synchronization standpoint, and it does not waste time. It increases the speed. So we'll try to use timeout, and we'll see the difference between wait and timeout. How does it work? So I can go and say time out, and I'll say same exact 5 seconds which I gave in last wait statement. So let's just save this in our desired location, say timeout example dot tag, and save. So we have saved that. It's the same example. Let's come back here and say tag UI and say timeout tag, and let's run this now and minimize this code so that we can see clear screen what's happening, and enter. So it launched, it's navigated to, and you see as soon as the page is loaded, it times out. The overall execution time was, in this case, with wait was 7 seconds, because 5 plus the time it took for the page to load, so both combined and to became 7 seconds. And in this case, if you see, to load the same thing, it just took 2 seconds, 2.6 seconds. What wait does is, it blindly waits for the defined time. Let's say if you are wait for 5 seconds, it would wait for 5 seconds, and it doesn't matter if page is loaded or not, it just waits for 5 seconds without any standing instruction what needs to be done. Whereas timeout waits until the page is loaded. The moment page is loaded, or object is loaded, or any element which we are waiting for is loaded, it times out and then comes out of it. Otherwise, it will be still waiting for it. So it's best practice to use timeout than wait with respect to web application or web objects. It's pretty helpful. This basically finishes our synchronization example in Tagui. Thanks for watching. See you another one.